Hello, Andrew Fidler with LaPlante Real Estate, coming to you as always from Toledo, Ohio. We are discussing the most important topic, the success of your asset and how that's going to form the cornerstone of your portfolio. The first threshold to get through is cash flow. We have to be able to achieve a realistic amount of money going into your bank account every month because that will define success. It will define your level of comfort and it will define how smoothly and easily your portfolio operates. Let me contrast for a second. If you purchase a property improperly, overpaying for the asset and deciding we'll go with an occupied property. You have a resident who has lived in the property for 10 years. You paid a premium to buy the property, and the only way that this property makes money, in your opinion, is for the rent to be increased on the resident by 40%. The resident most likely is going to feel like they're being taken advantage of. They've lived here for a long time. They, in their view, to look at the same money equivalent, they're owed new carpet, new paint, new doors, and so they're just as likely to want to move. And then the owner is then doubly hit because now you have to renovate the property and put all those things in and re-rent. The goal is that we're going to make our money upon sale. When you purchase the property, that's where we're locking in our equity, and that's where we have the potential for appreciation. That is also where if we have an occupied property, we are able to take a methodical approach. We want the new resident to recognize that, sure, some out-of-town investor, right, the big shadowy figure, purchased their property. However, rent is going to go up at a very small increment. Typically, I will give the resident a trajectory out 2 or 3 years so they have the comfort of knowing that we're not looking to do anything drastic with our property. That also means that we purchased the property knowing that we wanted to do incremental changes, and if the resident stays in place, the owner and the property manager need to be completely happy with the performance of the property. Additionally, we need to ensure that when we have a vacant property, that we're making it as attractive as possible. When you're looking at a vacant property to purchase, you're looking for the deck on the back. You're looking for a kind of an open kitchen concept. A lot of times I'll find, a pass-through countertop area, an island built between the dining room and the kitchen. Any of those items are going to be attractive as compared to the standard 3-bedroom houses that are going to be in the area. We want to be able to avoid functional obsolescence. Typically, if you bring an existing home to me and you say, look, I've always had problems renting this house, it doesn't take too long for us to enter the home, get you video of, hey, if we go upstairs to 3 bedrooms on the second story, the stairs are narrow and the stairs make a 90-degree turn halfway up. It's impossible for us to get furniture upstairs, any kind of like a king-size mattress set. So you want to avoid items they're just not cost effective for us to try to expand the stairs, to rebuild the stairs going to the second floor. That would be functional obsolescence. Another good one is walking through a bedroom to get to a bedroom. You're going to end up with 1 bedroom in that case. So we try to look at property that the residents are really going to be excited to live in for the long term. Be careful of your neighborhoods. Anyone who's investing in Washington Local School District 43623 is the predominant zip code, and then the suburbs. You're pretty much able to buy anywhere. Anywhere you can afford will make a competitive rental product. It's not going to earn as much cash flow when compared to other lower zip codes. However, the quality is very easy to do. If anything, you're priced out of the majority of the zip code because it's too expensive. You move into the standard cash flowing zip codes that we recommend and that we operate in every day, 43612, 43613. Again, you can buy anything in those zip codes and you'll be fine. There's also those areas where it's just oddly 30% more expensive than the rest of the zip code, and those are predominantly homeowner areas. Anytime we can end up with a rental in that vicinity, it's a great buy. Then you move into our single-digit zip codes. North side 08, south side 09, east side 05. There's a few more out there. The single-digit zip codes are your Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. You want to be in 20% of that zip code They're nice streets. They're maintained. If we get you wheels down here in Toledo, I can drive you around and show you those neighborhoods. But ultimately, you want to be careful of moving even a block over and moving down in the quality of the neighborhood, the quality of the houses around it. If you get into any of our blighted neighborhoods, you're going to see a lot of board ups and you're going to see a lot of missing houses. And those are properties that have been damaged to the point beyond salvageability. Of course, the zip code is also low property value as well. So there's kind of a point of diminishing returns. But those areas are pretty easy for us to detect and to steer you out of. But we want to do it before you buy the property. Lastly, I am careful in operating multifamily properties. This is speaking from my own experience. I try to avoid 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments in those single-digit zip codes. They are a challenge to be able to keep rented for the long term. I'll make a separate video about that. But ultimately, your asset that we're putting in, especially your very first property, the property that you're judging the basis of our town on, needs to be successful. I recommend you retain me to advise you to look at property, to see what my personal experience is, my personal preference, as well as what we can do to ensure that when that property comes on board, your property manager is going to be successful. If we get all that in order, you're going to be receiving the cash flow you expect every month. That makes the relationship with your resident very smooth, very simple, and it also prevents you, the owner, from having to henpeck your property manager to drive the rent, to drive the revenue, so that you can begin to achieve the cash flow you feel is entitled for that property. As always, thank you for investing here in the city of Toledo, and we truly appreciate your business. Thank you.